Such a bizarre and weird movie, but I loved it. It it was just so awesome. The acting was not the best. Some of the jokes were really immature and unfunny, but some of the jokes, when the jokes were good, were really funny. Just the premise of it could have been executed better. Though it's a horror comedy, I think it leads more on the comedy side, even though, yeah, people do get killed in it. It just seems way more comedy than horror. I think that's what a lot of comedy horrors mess up with. But there's so many bizarre things in this movie that just make it such a joy to watch. Like, it's just so unique, and I really don't know how to explain it. There's so many weird things. So here's just one, but I'm gonna say a bunch to talk about the movie. This one girl that they have a little beef throughout the movie. They get in a little argument, and to insult her, she talks about how her tits are big. And then Doug is just like, no more tit talk. Just some of the lines are absolutely ridiculous. So then the one girl that got told that her tits were big just goes into the bathroom and cuts herself. And then later, the guy that is supposed to be straight makes out with the guy that is supposed to be gay, from like all the different misunderstandings in this movie that people keep thinking he's gay. And there's also a really funny scene later in the movie where Katie is like, no, I don't think it's Katie. Maybe it's Katie. They say, like, you're homophobic, you killed him because he's gay. And I thought it was pretty funny. And they just kept arguing back and forth. And the serial killer, he was a joy to watch in this movie too, because like most of his scenes were the same repeated joke about like they kept like saying that like there are golfers in the woods. Like someone would get hurt and they would say like fuck or something, and someone would be like, what is that? And they would go forward, and they're like, oh, it's just a golfer. Because the characters in this movie are really dumb, and that's kind of part of the movie. Anyway, yeah, that joke got repeated a little bit too much. But he also had scenes where like he licked one girl's hair and you're like, ugh, conditioner. And then what else is in this movie? One guy gets his hand glued to a tit, and for like the entire movie, for like any scene we have him in, his hand is just holding like a tit. And then one guy, I think his name was, no, I think his name is Kevin, I'm not sure, got like a phone in his ball sack. It's just so bizarre. But that's what makes it good. Then the description of the movie made it sound like, oh, there's gonna be a few jokes here and there, but it's gonna be mostly horror. But it was mostly jokes. Like, the description of the movie is this serial killer has this whole plan, but the friends end up betraying and killing each other. And the movie was just mostly jokes. Like, it's just a very bizarre movie. So, it's definitely not for everybody, but I did enjoy it. And, since, it basically just playing on itself, that is a bizarre, and it even criticizes itself. Like, there's, a scene where, these people are like, hey, we're gonna look everywhere for all the people that are missing. even though in secret they all killed each one of them, which they later admit. Anyway, they're like, hey, we're gonna look for everybody, and then all they do is go outside, yell on their porch their name, and then go in after like a few seconds. And then Jessica's like, hey, that's all you did is yell. And usually criticizes itself. But there's one time it didn't criticize itself where it made a very big mistake. For most of the movie, they call out their own mistakes. But this one was very big. Jessica is supposedly like the only decent human being. And she even calls them out on their shit like, hey, why the fuck did you kill a bunch of people? What the fuck is wrong with you? And then she ends up killing someone 5 minutes later. Like, come on. We had one person that I could be rooting for that wasn't Red, and then you make her a piece of shit too? Sure, she kills one person, and the only reason she killed him was because that person killed her best friend. But still, she killed someone. Right after criticizing them for killing someone and not wanting to call the police. And, there's actually one person that survives in this movie, which is very surprising. I think they just forgot about her. 3 people get tranquilized. 1 girl, Doug, I think, no, not Doug, Mike, Jessica, and the 1 girl, I think her name is Katie. Red comes to their rescue right when the serial killer is about to kill Mike. And Red says the same line that Mike said to Red, and then Red kills him. And then Red takes Jessica. Jessica admits that she was just joking around with him and she wasn't actually flirting with him. And he kills her just like he said he would in the beginning of the movie. Which, if you don't watch this all in one sitting, you probably wouldn't have remembered the line because it's kind of a throwaway since it's just one time, like 10 minutes in, and it's an hour and 40 minutes. But in the beginning of the movie, she flirts with him and he's like, hey, if you're just joking around with me, I'll kill you, because he's kind of crazy. So he ends up killing her, and the movie ends with him surviving. So actually that's 2 people survived. So, yeah, very bizarre and weird, but I liked it. Not for everyone, though, like I already said.